Bitcoin just hit a brand new all-time high, soaring past $112,000 for the first time ever. But the big question is, why now? And more importantly, what happens next? In this video, I'll break it down in plain English, whether you're holding crypto or just getting started. So let's start with what just happened. Bitcoin broke past its previous all-time high and surged all the way up to $118,780. This is the highest Bitcoin has ever traded in history. For anyone who's been watching the charts over the past few years, this is a big deal. And not just for price watchers or traders. It's a sign of growing confidence in Bitcoin from some of the biggest players in the financial world. So, why is Bitcoin suddenly setting new records in the middle of the year? The short answer, demand is rising. And it's not just coming from crypto bros. It's coming from institutions. BlackRock, Fidelity, and other major firms have continued to pour money into Bitcoin's ETFs. And these aren't just test investments. We're talking billions of dollars flowing into Bitcoin as part of serious long-term strategies. In fact, reports show that institutional holdings of Bitcoin have more than doubled over the last year, with corporations now controlling hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin between them. But institutions aren't the only ones driving this rally. The macro environment is helping too. The Federal Reserve has signaled that interest rate cuts may be on the horizon. That's made risk on assets like crypto more attractive again. On top of that, the US dollar has been weakening, which usually pushes investors towards assets like gold and increasingly Bitcoin. There's also a political factor that's adding fuel to Bitcoin's rally, and that's the current administration. Since returning to office, President Trump has taken a surprisingly pro-crypto stance, especially when it comes to Bitcoin. He's publicly supported US-based Bitcoin mining, hinted at building a national Bitcoin reserve, and pushed for looser regulation around crypto innovation. That kind of government support, especially coming from the top, changes the tone of the entire market. It gives institutional investors more confidence. It softens the risk narrative, and it signals that Bitcoin might finally be treated more like a strategic asset and less like a threat. Now, let's zoom out for a second and talk about what this all-time high actually means. For long-time holders, this is a moment of validation. If you bought during the last bull run, or even during the brutal bear market of 2022, you're finally seeing those bets pay off. But for beginners or anyone sitting on the sidelines, the big question is it too late? Well, the honest answer, not necessarily, but that depends on your time horizon. Bitcoin tends to move in cycles, and while every cycle is different, the pattern is often the same. Price runs up, pulls back, consolidates, and then either makes another leg up or enters a longer cool down period. We saw it in 2013, we saw it in 2017, and we saw it again in 2021. Right now, we're in the part of the cycle where momentum builds fast, but volatility is high. So, if you're considering entering the market, it's important to know your plan. Are you investing long-term, or are you just trying to ride the hype? Are you dollar cost averaging over time, or trying to time the top? These aren't just strategy questions. They determine how you'll handle the next dip, because there will always be a dip. And how you react to it depends on whether you're investing with conviction or just following the headlines. Let me quickly share something personal. When I first heard about Bitcoin, it was over 12 years ago. A friend of mine bought one Bitcoin and kept talking about how it was going to change everything. I didn't buy in right away. In fact, I didn't buy any until about 4 years later, after watching how much money he had made. And when I finally did buy, I wasn't thinking about decentralization or inflation. I just thought the price would go up. That experience taught me a lot. Yes, speculation can get you in the door, but understanding what you're buying is what helps you stay during the ups and downs. So what should we be watching next? Keep an eye on ETF inflows. If demand stays steady or accelerates, this rally could continue. Also, watch for any signs of regulatory movement, especially from US agencies or international markets. And pay attention to the altcoin market too, because historically, Bitcoin moves first and the rest of the market follows. Another thing to keep in mind is sentiment. The media tends to get very excited when Bitcoin is hitting highs and very negative when it pulls back. Don't let headlines dictate your decisions. Focus on the fundamentals, zoom out, and if you believe in the long-term vision of Bitcoin, try to ignore the noise. Markets always move in waves, but the value behind Bitcoin as a decentralized, limited supply of value doesn't vanish just because price swings go up or down. Now, what about price targets? Some analysts are now eyeing $130,000 to $140,000 by the end of this year, if demand from institutions keep rising. But others are warning that we may see a sharp correction first. The truth is, no one can predict short-term moves with certainty. So instead of asking where's the top, it might be better to ask, what's my goal? Are you trying to double your money in a month? Or are you building a portfolio for the next 5 years? Bitcoin just hit a new all-time high. And whether you're holding, buying, or just watching from the sidelines, this moment is historic. The next move could be even bigger, or we might see a pullback. Either way, staying informed is your best strategy. If this breakdown helped, hit that like button, subscribe for more beginner-friendly crypto content, and drop a comment. Are you buying, holding, or waiting for the next dip? I'm Brent, and I'll see you in the next one.